this afternoon. In fact, there's already a sunny start for Northern Ireland, Northern England and Scotland. There are showers across these areas, blustery ones at that, because the winds are very strong. The peak of the strongest winds, I think, will be across the northeast of Scotland this morning. Then the wind eased a little bit, but it still remains very windy. So sunshine and showers for Scotland this afternoon. For Northern Ireland, perhaps a bit dry this afternoon. And then parts of England and Wales, the southwest remaining quite cloudy with some patchy rain, showers affecting the north and east of England. Temperature-wise, mild for the time of year. Temperatures up to 12 degrees Celsius, but not feeling that mild with the strength of the winds. Now, another thing that's a concern today with the strength of the winds are storm surges. The Environment Agency are keeping an eye on it around the Thames Estuary, around the Norfolk-Suffolk coastline as well. That can cause some issues too with flooding. Tonight, patchy rain will spread to Northern Ireland, Scotland and parts of central and southeastern areas of England and Wales.
Times Radio sponsors Talk TV Weather.
Thank you, Naz. Plenty more still to come here. The UK's favourite travel guru, Simon Calder, will be in the studio to give you all the advice you need if you're heading far afield to visit family and friends over Christmas.
It's going to be a nightmare. He's going to say don't travel. It's almost 7:45 Thursday morning. We're live across the UK. This is Talk Today. Do not go anywhere. Everything you need to know about travel. We'll be with you in 3. We're coming right back.
Upgrade to Sky Cinema for more of the latest blockbusters like Top Gun Maverick, Magic Mike, The Last Dance, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Fast 10 and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And 2 free view tickets a month. Sky Cinema. Sky TV contract required. View tickets valid Sunday to Thursday. Limits restrictions apply. See sky.com for terms.
At Holiday Inn Express, the best meal of the day is always included as part of your stay. Rise and shine with a muffin and croissants galore. With a buffet this good, you'll come back for more. Try excellent eggs. There's fresh coffee too, or a hot English brekkie. You do you. Holiday Inn Express. Comfy bed, banging breakfast. Travel like you mean it with IHG Hotels and Resorts. 19 hotel brands, 6,000 global destinations, and IHG One Rewards loyalty program.
Come on, Katharina. You can handle this heat. One event at a time. Throw together a decent ragu. Jump straight onto the Malaysian curry. Bring it home with the chili. Yeah, I'll bust this bashcock.
Perform better on Sundays. Get half-price electricity, 11 a.m. till 4 p.m. with Peak Save from British Gas. Proud partners of Team GB and Paralympics GB. Ends 31st of December. T's and C's apply. Smart meter required.
It's the most marvellous day at Aldi today with bonkers offers on the way. A 1 litre bottle of Sepinol vodka or Grayson's London Dry Gin was $15.99. Now only $14.49. All from the rich cheapest supermarket of the year. Aldi. Share the love this Christmas. Offer ends December the 21st. Product prices will vary in Scotland and Wales.
Your way from driveway to motorway. Talk Radio. Travel update.
The M3 in Hampshire is closed southbound from junction 11 south of Winchester to 12 at Eastleigh after a vehicle caught fire and long delays. As a result, the M5 in Worcestershire to run 4 lanes closed northbound after an accident between junctions 5 and 4A. From Droitwich to the M42 causing queues. The M1 in South Yorkshire is closed to high-sided vehicles at junction 34 at Meadowhall. Connections are from back on by the Smith Road. Bridges in Scotland are closed to high-sided vehicles and disruption to a number of train services across Scotland and also 2 ferry sailings on the holding.
Can't accept this.
At Tesco, get Lance on the Black Creation Champagne, now only £26, down from £39 with club card prices. 'Tis the season to sit back and enjoy. Tesco, every little helps. Drinkware.co.uk 18 plus. Majority of larger stores. Champagne ends 31st of December. Club card wrap required. Excludes Express and Wash.
Drive with Vanessa Fells on Talk Radio and Talk TV.
It is a big deal.
Traffic stopping debate and full-throttled opinion.
I mean, it's pretty much factual, isn't it? And that's exactly what did happen.
Vanessa Fells at Drive. This afternoon from 4 on Talk Radio and Talk TV.
Welcome back. You were Talk Today, 12 minutes to 8. It's Thursday morning now with the perfect storm of travel chaos just around the corner. Brits driving home for Christmas are frankly being urged to hit the roads early. Some left last week to avoid what is only going to be a complete disaster. I'm not lying.
Well, joining us now is the travel correspondent for The Independent, Simon
travel legend.
Calder. Simon, should we just start off with what's happening in Scotland? We're hearing lots of schools that have been closed. Emily was telling us in the news, transport presumably really been affected by the storm.
It's a real mess, actually, for pretty much all of Scotland and a lot of northern England as well. So in Scotland, my goodness, lots of cancellations, complete rail lines closed in many parts of Scotland. They are worried about things being blown onto the tracks and that causing a danger. So that's going to be taking place pretty much for most of today. Speed restrictions on many other lines. Transpennine Express, which runs trains between...
After 800 yards, cross the roundabout and take the second exit, M1, towards the north. Then take the motorway.
Every single one of the Caledonian McBrain ferry routes around the Western Isles has a warning on it, with many of them closed completely. And
cross the roundabout and take the second exit, then take the motorway.
British Airways has also cancelled 24 flights in and out of London Heathrow, including many not going anywhere near Storm Peak.
Simon, come on, now listen. People have worked all year. They've just got over COVID. The government's in turmoil. Everything's expensive, right? Taxes through the roof. And now everything to do with the travel system this Christmas. Why does it on a serious note, mate, why are we so incapable in the United Kingdom? Bit of wind, bit of rain, we're absolutely stuffed.
Okay, so a few things going on there. First of all, we are absolutely emotionally invested in this week before Christmas.
Yeah.
If you actually go back 5 years, we were still in the drone at Gatwick, if you might remember. That wiped out 1,000 flights, tore up the holiday plans of 150,000 people. And it just, of course, if you have got maximum pressure on the system, everybody desperate to get where they're going, a bit of weather is going to throw a massive spanner in the works. So when you said, people have left last week, that was certainly the smart thing to do. On the roads, by the way, it's going to be bad Friday, Saturday and Sunday.
Happy Christmas, people.
Do you know, people working from home has alleviated some of the pressure on the roads, surely. You know, there's lots of people who've already gone home for Christmas, if you're doing that, and working, I don't know, in a spare room. So, you know, things presumably on the roads are a little bit better than we've seen before.
No.
It's not going to be too bad today, but tomorrow you are going to get a, sorry to use the term, perfect storm of the normal commuter traffic, because lots of people are actually doing a full week's work because Christmas Day is on a Monday. You're going to have all the usual trucks around, people doing last minute shopping, and you're going to have over 3.5 million people making getaway journeys. And
You wake up every morning and think, all I'm going to do is give miserable news.
I don't.
You love this, don't you? I mean, honestly, it's on a serious note, you're watching this now and you're thinking, right, tomorrow we're going up north to see the grandparents, we're taking a flight to wherever to get away from the miserable weather, or we're going to... I mean, you're going to sit there and you're going to go, oh,
No, I just want, if I'm never ever asked to talk TV again, to talk about what's going on with travel, I shall be absolutely delighted. I don't like being the voice of travel doom. I want everybody to go to wonderful parts of the UK and beyond and have a lovely time.
What's the kind of survival tips then? If you want to have the most stress-free travel trip,
Don't travel.
what should you do?
Okay, start off early, both
How
in terms of
early?
days and in the morning. Well, tomorrow, for instance, is going to be horrible from 10 till 6 according to the motoring organisation.
But how many people will do that and leave at 6 o'clock? It'll be awful.
Well,
I think it's unlikely.
no, already
It's influential, but you know, if we all got in our car at 6 a.m, that would be a trial.
or delay until the evening, and don't forget engineering works kick in as early as Christmas Eve, and therefore London King's Cross, London Paddington, big intercity.
See, then I'm going to get the impression that I'm turning into my dad, and I'm sorry if they all think I'm moaning. Why is it the train operators and people doing the roads that can't listen out? Why would you do it right now and make people's Christmas getaway even more bleeding miserable?
Well, thank you, because historically fewer people have travelled by train over Christmas week, so that's why they do it. But of course, since COVID, actually things have turned around, and there's people saying, well, this is ludicrous. And of course, no trains at all anywhere in the kingdom on Christmas Day, very, very few on Boxing Day. The good old long-distance bus services, so National Express, Flixbus, Megabus, they will get you where you need to be, and more flights than ever on Christmas Day. If you need to
Cheap, by the way, to fly on Christmas Day.
It is, yeah.
I think this has been the year of the coach. With all the train delays, the coaches haven't gone on strike. If you need to get somewhere, maybe it might be slow, you might be a bit squashed, but I feel
You
like
might get sick.
you'll probably get there.
Really?
Oh yes, absolutely.
I think I'd rather walk.
Things may come and things may go, but National Express keeps rolling on.
Yeah, but then we're the sort of country that go, do you know what? With all these trouble, horse and cart's the answer still. Can I talk about compensation, Simon?
Yeah.
And on a serious note, we've talked across on the show this week about inflation and giving people tips about how they can do it. For a lot of people who will invest in a ticket, be it on a train or a ferry or a thing, if it's cancelled, what can we tell them? Because at this time of year, money's tight, and a lot of people will be out of pocket.
So a lot of trains messed up today. If that happens to you and you've got an advance ticket and you're late, you get to where you need to be, but you're a couple of hours late, then you just go for delay repay. This is a really good system in general, particularly if you go direct to the train operators, you haven't gone through a third party. It's really straightforward and you should be able to claim that back. On the planes, if you're one of the thousands of people on the planes cancelled by British Airways today, I'm afraid they're just going to say bad weather, nothing we can do about it. So you can have a new flight on a different airline if need be, your hotel costs, your meals costs. But of course the big problem now is if you're one of those people, all the planes are pretty fully booked, and so you're really going to be struggling. I am so sorry.
I have to show a bit of respect to, I don't know what train line it is, but the one that goes down to Bournemouth,
South Western Rail.
I was on a train with them the other day, and it was delayed, and then it had to stop at a station and drop us off, right? Luckily near where I wanted to go. Within 10 minutes they sent me a text. Within 20 minutes they sent an email, and they'd refunded the money within 24 hours, and that had never happened to me before.
Well, that's
really
good. Of course, the solution would be not to have.
Well, yes, you don't really want to have that strategy there to use, do you? You know, great, you got your money back, but I often find with these things, I really don't care about the compensation because it doesn't ever accommodate for the absolute headache of dealing with the delay in the first place.
Yeah. It's miserable, and things, as they say, can only get better. But frankly, it's winter, it's Christmas, everybody desperate to get where they need to be. Please just be kind to the people in the front line, because they are absolutely wanting to get you where you want to be, and it's not their fault that weather's happened. And
when you go on public transport, do people go, my God, that's Simon colder, is it? Do people have a go at you and go, why is my train light colder?
Well, no, because I'm a cyclist, I wear a high-vis jacket, so people assume that I'm,
It's going really well.
Are you travelling for Christmas, Simon?
I'm staying in London. Unfortunately, I have learnt over the years that things are going to go wrong, and it's actually really good to go away early January when everyone's coming back. Obviously, I spend my entire life as much as possible on holiday pretending to work, and I look forward to resuming that soon.
In January, Simon, thank you so much.
Thank you so much indeed. The legend that is Simon Cole, and still to come on talk today. After two teenagers were found guilty yesterday of the murder of 16-year-old Brianna Jai. We'll ask how people so young can commit such heinous crime.
This is Talk Today. It's 4 minutes 8.
At Eon Next, we believe life's better when you know that if you need help with your energy, there's a team of dedicated energy specialists who work hard to get it sorted, so you can get back to doing what you like quicker. We think that makes energy a little bit better, and that's why we're always working towards helping you get more out of your energy. So visit eonnext.com today.
This is Samsung S23 FE's greatest hits, with hits such as smart brightness and long battery life. The new phone with all the greatest hits from £599. Buy the Galaxy S23 FE to claim £294 worth of rewards, including a free pair of Buds FE. Purchase from a participating retailer by the 25th of Jan 24. Claim Buds FE within 30 days of purchase. T's and C's apply. Samsung.com pricing show.
What could you do in 60 seconds? You could wash up 2.5 dishes. You could delete 17 blurry pics from your phone. Or you could use Capital One's Quick Check to see if you'll be accepted for a credit card without affecting your credit score.
Nice.
Search Capital One Quick Check. Capital One, that's one good thing.
Let's go, get in, hurry! What's wrong with the car? Flat battery. What?
You absolute...
It's okay, lads. Oh, dear.
How? Lovely.
With more expert patrols in more places, we'll get you back on the road in no time. Join the UK's best breakdown service from £7.50 a month. The AA, always ahead. New customers only, T's and C's apply. Verify best and patrol numbers at theaa.com/best.
What was your best Christmas ever?
The year you got your dream bike? Or the one when Granny had one too many eggnogs? When you woke up to a white Christmas? Or will it be this year? Lotto's £50 million jackpot must be won this Saturday. Or thousands of you will win a share of the jackpot. Now that could top them all. This Christmas, it could be you. Lotto from the National Lottery. Play on app. Account terms, rules and procedures apply. Players must be 18 or over. Talk radio. Upfront and bold as brass. Rev it up and run it out. Talk radio. The home of common sense. Say hello to Chase, the digital bank that makes every day rewarding.
Oh, hang on. What does that mean?
Well, it's quick and easy to open a Chase account so you can start earning rewards when you spend and interest when you don't.
Okay, now you've got my attention. But what if I need to speak to customer service?
With a few taps in the app, you can access our customer service team 24/7.
Will I have to speak to one of those robots?
Nope, only living, breathing human people.
Great. Where do I sign up?
You can download the Chase app now. Chase, awarded Best British Bank by our customers.
18 plus UK residents.
Talk radio. Danger. Slippery people. Uncomplicated life rubric for hungry thought thinkers. It's Talk Radio, the home of common sense. This is Talk Today with Jeremy Kyle and Rosie Wright.
Hey, very good morning to you. Just gone 8 o'clock on Thursday, the 21st of December.
You're with Talk Today on TV, radio, online and on smart speaker. Our top stories this morning.
So Keir Starmer says that Russia poses a direct threat to Britain as he visits Estonia today, urging the world not to go soft on Putin.
The judge will decide later whether the two teenage killers of Brianna Jai can be publicly named.
And believe it or not, the average cost of Christmas will be over £1,800, but 1 in 4 people are set to borrow money to pay for it.
And if you're travelling for Christmas today, watch out. Very strong winds with Met Office warnings in force for much of the UK, as well as rainfall showers. I'll have the details for you very soon. Now let's get the latest headlines with Emily.
Good morning. Schools in Scotland have been forced to shut this morning and many train services cancelled as Storm Pia arrives. Drivers are being urged to take care on the roads across the country, with some areas in the north experiencing gales of up to 80 miles per hour. A yellow weather warning is in place and more disruptions expected over the coming days. Gaza's Ministry of Health says the death tolls now surpassed 20,000 people since the war with Israel began more than 10 weeks ago. Although the figures can't be independently verified by journalists, Palestinian officials say they include 8,000 children and more than 6,000 women. Former British Army head Lord Richard Dannatt told Talk Today Israel needs to consider how they move forward.
No one doubts Israel's right to fight against Hamas, but the question is, are they fighting right? Are they doing it proportionately? And I think this is what they have got to really focus on. As far as I'm concerned, they've got to accept, despite the growing world opinion that they should have a ceasefire or further operational pauses, they should continue their operation, but they should continue on a more measured basis.
The judge will decide later whether to publicly name two teenagers who've been found guilty of murdering a transgender pupil. 16-year-old Brianna Jai was stabbed 28 times in what's been described as a ferocious attack in a park in Cheshire in February. Yesterday, two 16-year-olds who haven't been named because of their age were convicted of her killing. A cross-party group of MPs is calling for greater measures to protect children from exposure to gambling adverts. They're recommending organisations such as the Premier League reduce the number of promotions in stadiums. The government insists there are already robust rules in place, but a recent study found nearly 7,000 gambling messages were seen during 6 matches on the opening weekend of the season. And plans to allow pupils in England to study for a GCSE in British Sign Language have moved a step closer. In 2018, the government said it would consider introducing the qualification after deaf schoolboy Daniel Gillings and his family launched a legal challenge to introduce the course, and now the government says it will be brought in 2025. I'll have more headlines at 8:30.
Thank you so much indeed. Listen, we'll get to your involvement in the show, be it Starmer proving that he can or might not be a Prime Minister today in Estonia. Sunak in number 10, worrying about what's coming up in the new year. We're going to talk about that dreadful, dreadful murder of Brianna Jai later on in the show. So all of your thoughts to cover right now. Come on, next past takes to the weather with Naz.
Good morning. It's a very windy one out there for today. The Met Office have a warning in force, especially strong winds for the northeast.
Time Radio sponsors Talk TV weather.
Good morning. The run-up to Christmas continues unsettled, very windy over the next 24 hours or so. The Met Office do have a warning force from the north of England and Wales northwards, as that's where we're likely to see gusts up to around 55 miles per hour widely, but up to around 70 to 80 severe gales across the northeast of the UK. This could cause some disruption to travel, not only for this morning, but during today and into tomorrow as well. Also, rain and showers and storm surges may be an issue as well, particularly around Norfolk, Suffolk coast, around the Thames estuary, where the Environment Agency have got warnings in force too. This morning there were spells of rain across many central parts of England and Wales, quickly clearing away southwards, revealing sunny skies across much of the UK for this afternoon. And this morning there were showers across the north. They will continue between sunny spells across Scotland later. As you can see, a few of them wintry with the brisk winds. This could cause blizzard-like conditions. Northern Ireland a bit drier later, and then England and Wales seeing some showers, particularly across the northwest of England down towards Lincolnshire, East Anglia. The southwest of England and Wales staying cloudier with some patchy rain that will be also affecting the Republic of Ireland. Now temperatures mild, up to 12 degrees Celsius, but brisk winds will make it feel cooler. Into tonight, that warning remains in force, although the winds will tend to ease and we will still remain blustery through the night, but a touch of frost possible in some rural spots of Scotland where it will be a cold night and wintry showers continue there, therefore still the risk of blizzards. Meanwhile, across Ireland, that rain shifts up towards Northern Ireland, northwest England, the northeast of Wales towards the West Midlands, central southeastern England by dawn. It will be a mild night across the south. And then into tomorrow, we continue with spells of patchy rain and cloudy skies across the north and east of England and Wales, from Northern Ireland to the southwest of Scotland. The rest of Scotland generally cloudy with some showers, especially so in the northeast. Winds much lighter, but still a cold day for Scotland. Temperatures higher for Northern Ireland and England and Wales, but generally speaking quite cloudy, although the southwest will see some brighter sunny spells and the driest conditions. There will be patchy rain for northern and eastern parts of England.
Times Radio sponsors Talk TV weather.
Thank you so much, Naz. Back to our top story today. The Labour leader has travelled to Estonia today to thank British troops for standing up to Russian aggression.
So Keir Starmer's visiting a NATO base near the Russian border this morning. He says the defence of the UK starts with Ukraine and has warned against going soft on President Vladimir Putin. In the studio with us is Talk TV's political correspondent Alicia Fitzgerald. Alicia, good morning. What is Sir Keir Starmer trying to achieve? What's he trying to sort of say to the public about his views on our foreign policy?
There's a few things here. One, just to prove that he's a statesman. One, to prove that he has really good relations with countries across the globe and he is really able to perform that role capably if he were to win the next general election. And another thing, that Labour have complete control over defence and defence spending. Historically, not something they've got a really great track record with. Lots of the public feel that they're in safer hands with the Conservatives when it comes to defence spending. But that is what Keir Starmer is really trying to do. He's trying to say that they would do a better job and that they'd really prioritise the war in Ukraine and the other war that we have really tragically in Israel and Gaza at the moment.
It's really interesting, actually, it was a year ago, by the way, Rose, that Sunak did exactly the same trip. And of course, as the leader of the opposition, Sir Keir Starmer is trying to, as you quite rightly say, position himself as a prime ministerial candidate in waiting. Let's talk about defence spending. Yesterday on the show we had Tobias Elwood saying how disgraceful it was, 17 warships, an army decimated. And this started with austerity in the mid sort of 2012, 13, 14. Do we know anything specific? Running around Estonia is fine. Do we know anything specific about what Labour would do in terms of defence? We heard earlier we're spending 2.3% of GDP. Has he promised more?
He's not making any precise promises yet, and that kind of feeds into this wider idea of when will Keir Starmer start giving us some concrete material to work with. Obviously, there's only so long that he can go on being slightly vague and promising things here and there without giving the public actual definitive promises about what he would do if he were the Prime Minister and if Labour were into power. I think we can expect that in the new year for sure.
Yeah, we do need that clarity, don't we? We've heard from Rishi Sunak at number 10, they're saying that the general election will be next year. Obviously, things could change, as they said, for now. Starmer's got then maybe maybe 12 months to absolutely refine his pitch to the public. Do you think this sort of foreign agenda defence is going to play a big piece of that?
I think ultimately the biggest issue for British people and the electorate at the moment is just being a bit better off. The cost of living crisis seems to be the absolute biggest priority for most people in the electorate. But overall, I think some people's frustration with Labour is that they just don't know what lots of their policies are. Even this close to the general election, the pressure on Keir Starmer to really define what exactly he will do, when he will do it, and where he's getting the money from is going to be the big thing.
That's the point, and I've been very vocal about this. You know, he's done a great job in 4 years to rid, I think, a lot of people's vision that, you know, Corbyn and anti-Semitism and all that sort of stuff. But as the light is shone but brighter as we get nearer to election day, the British public, whatever their support, will want meat on the bone. And it's absolutely right that he goes to Estonia and says our armed forces should be. It's absolutely right, by the way, that he highlights what's going on in Ukraine, because war fatigue could happen, and war fatigue means people forget the horrors that are going on, and also in the Middle East. I want to know, though, this is what I want, actually not just me, this is a clear list, this is what the British public want to know. They want to know whether you are trustworthy enough to not just say, we need more soldiers, more ships, are you going to pay for it? If so, where are you getting the money from? That's Labour's problem. It's always been Labour's problem. How are you going to pay for all of this stuff?
Definitely, the issue is he's trying to shed this Labour image of it having a magic money tree.
Yeah.
That's what people are used to attack the Labour Party for. Mass loads of borrowing and just big promises without knowing where exactly they're going to fund that.
Well, they've been really cautious, the Labour Party. They've said that we're not going to make promises that we can't show to you how we're going to fund them. The problem is, that's not very exciting. That doesn't really galvanise the public that says, okay, they're tightening the purse strings and saying we haven't got this money to blame it. It gets a bit tiring when they just constantly say, well, that's because the Conservatives have sort of frittered away the money that we had.
Definitely. There's only so long that kind of argument is going to really sit with the public. The public will just demand a bit more clarity about where exactly the money is going, what the priorities are going to be, and where the money is going to come from. The issue is obviously with debt. We heard today that debt has actually increased, national debt has increased. So the Conservatives, the faith in the Conservatives for borrowing and for spending money has actually decreased. So it gives Labour a bit of a chance to be a bit more open with what their plans are.
Well, joining us now is Jonathan Haslam, who was Director of Communications, lucky man, at Downing Street under John Major. First of all, Director of Communications, you have a nightmare travelling, haven't you, today?
It's been interesting.
Yeah, you see,
challenging, but we've come up with the goods, and it's sped through the reception here like a Rolls Royce.
Oh, that's very interesting. I've never had that myself, the mini metro. We'll just stick with Starmer, and then I want to put something to you about Sunak if I can. So Keir Starmer today, Jonathan, in Estonia, quite loudly saying we need to support Ukraine. It's not just a war, it's a war for all of Europe. But nothing concrete as to whether he'd actually increase defence spending, just grandstanding, showing what he needs to show the British people, I guess.
It's smart politics, as we've been hearing. The question is always going to be about where is the cash. But in terms of positioning Starmer, it's exactly the right thing to do. He's making himself look like a Prime Minister. So if he gets into Downing Street, people are not going to be surprised by what they see from him. But it's always going to come back from the money. And it's a very, very big change from Jeremy Corbyn. I'd rather go and have a cup of tea with people who are otherwise carrying a gun into the tea shop.
Starmer right now just has to sort of hold steady, doesn't he? I mean, meeting with troops saying we can't be soft on Putin, all of this is kind of stating the obvious, doing the obvious. Does he need to do much more than that?
I think he's got to play it safe. The issues of cash are going to continue to dominate.
Not going away.
But that's absolutely fine. I mean, he knows what his game is. And this positioning is exactly right for him. And I think the great British public are going to get used to it. He's played a very smart game. He went to COP28. He's making himself... Well, I'm sorry, Jeremy. In terms of politics, it counts because of who you are seen with. And are those people taking you seriously? And that's the big thing.
And it is, and I think we should give credit to him for what he's done, but I will absolutely maintain what you're saying is right, and I've said this to us here. I think the nearer we get to D-Day, the British public from wherever will want to know, well, we were brought up on being told that the Labour Party would just give any union a 30% rise and everybody could do this. Where is the money coming from? Interesting, we were talking about this morning, Rosie, you're doing the other thing, but they were saying that the Labour Party is now very popular amongst the younger generation, who are too young, by the way, to remember Michael Foot, too young to remember the green goddesses on the streets, too young to remember this sort of Gen Z generation. They're not, in a mind, they've only ever known a Tory government, so they don't have something to judge it against. I think that's quite interesting.
Well, this is, and I always like it when you interesting here is, why are we playing so much back into the past? Michael Foot has got nothing to do with
After 1.4 miles, take the exit 32 M18 towards Hull.
to Tony Blair and Gordon Brown. It wasn't just Iraq that defined that administration. It was, we're safe. We might be left, but we're left centre, and actually we're more centre than
He swept to power. Blair, loads of people who would never have considered Labour were taken by him.
Because they were safe, Jeremy.
Yeah.
They did not threaten. And Starmer is not threatening here. They've made no unfunded cost increases. So they're
on
making
message, all of this thing.
They are so disciplined. You talk to Tulip Sadiq, you talk to Rachel Reeves and all of these politicians, they're not offering out a brown paper envelope.
They are totally, Jonathan, on message. Every time we have somebody on, you would have to say, if you were being completely honest, the Tories look rather bedraggled and sort of, it's been 13 years. The young Labour...
After 800 yards, take the exit 32 M18 towards Hull.
That younger generation you've just been talking about, what they do know is strikes. They also, they've got to get to the train,
Take the exit 32.
and they're probably not going to be able to afford to buy a house. Do you think Rishi Sunak still has scope to persuade some of that generation round?
I don't. I think they've got a really big problem because they don't have a very clear strategy. Part of the problem they've got is, denying their past. We've had a real change. Let's go and blame, as Jeremy was pointing out, people for, many years before. It's 35 years of stagnation. But then, what are we going to do? Well, we've got a problem with our people because I've chosen the wrong one. Need a new foreign secretary. Come back, Dave Cameron. Take a bit of a...
Bring the One Nation story.
Follow M18 towards Hull for 8.5 miles.
So they do need to make up their minds about what they're about. And I think Isaac Levido coming back in January as a sort of election supremo will help them because they'll help clarify those messages.
Let me ask you a question. People won't know this, but you were Director of Communications in John Major's government. Let's be honest, let me get through the sentence. I mean, you had to deal with a problem Prime Minister.
No, I didn't.
No, you did.
No, Jeremy, this is not a problem Prime Minister. It's a Prime Minister who, as history has shown, is a lot more effective than people ever imagined.
I'm sure.
He had a problem
I
with
would
his
like
party.
to know, right? Or he had a problem. All right, okay. Now you are being fair enough. A Prime Minister with a problem. We'll say that. It's not a problem, Prime Minister. All right.
Take it.
What would you be telling Sunak? The critics will say, Jonathan Aston, he sat in number 10 Downing Street this Christmas in charge of a zombie government. His main hill that he's decided to die in Rwanda is stuck between the One Nations who don't want it moved and the ERG who want it completely moved. What would you be saying this Christmas to Sunak in his ear to get through this and potentially fight back in 2024?
What you have to continue to do is what you actually believe in. And you have the people around you who are going to talk up your particular game. Now, there are things you can't change. Your Rwanda policy, which is a complete and utter disaster. You should never have hung around your neck. You hang it round the Home Secretary's neck. It's their problem.
He did. She's gone.
Yes, but they've got another one. She's not taken responsibility for it. She's got out of jail. So for Sunak, clarify your message. And say it and say it and say it. It's like Richard Nixon said in the past. Say it until people throw up and then they might understand it and believe it. You've got to find that clarity and that consistency which will cut through. I don't think it'll work, but it might
Can he
stop.
win?
Can
he win?
No, it might stop Armageddon for the Conservative Party.
Really?
And that's one of the greatest challenges.
You want him as your Director of Communications. Can I win, Jonathan? No, it's going to be Armageddon. Happy Christmas. Sorry about the travel, but delighted as ever to have you both. Thank you very much.
I think an excellent example, Jonathan, there of showing how you did your job before and managing maybe some more tempestuous questions here as well.
Yeah, listen, just shut me down like an Amsterdam. This is all well and good from a man who couldn't arrive on time. Anyway, over to you, Rose.
Jonathan, thank you.
Thank you.
17 minutes past 8. Now, 2 teenagers found guilty of murdering the 16-year-old Brianna Jai told the court they wanted to fulfill their dark fantasies. And to Crown Court heard they were obsessed with violence and they'd complied a kill list, which included Brianna and 4 other children.
Jurors were shown thousands and thousands of texts exchanged between, that's what we know them as alignment, girl X and boy Y, who currently cannot be named for legal reasons, in which they discussed their plans.
Why do children kill? Joining us to tell us more is forensic psychologist Dr. Sarah Duff. Thank you very much for your time. From what you've learned about this case, why is it that fantasy, grotesque fantasy, actually was something they felt able to enact?
Sure. So I suppose when you look at children that have these dark, morbid curiosities, it's the old debate of nature versus nurture, right? So in terms of nature, people tend to have specific personality traits like anger management problems, impulse control, lack of empathy, lack of fear, and then there's the external factors. So that's nurture, so being exposed to violence, potentially being victims of violence themselves, not having like a healthy way to express their emotional outlet. And I think also in this particular case, it seems like there was a bit of peer pressure between girl X and boy Y. I think they were almost egging each other on and were playing chicken.
Sam, I'm so delighted to have you on, and I want to be educated in the next few minutes. I know Ralph Bulger very well. I interviewed him on Monday after the ruling that John Venables could quite rightly stay in prison. I'd spoken before to a man who told me that no child is evil. What I want you to do is try and understand where I'm coming from when I say this to you. You can talk about social pressures, you can talk about the dark web, you can talk about fantasy, and you can talk about egging on. It is not in any way, my friend, normal behaviour for anybody 10, 15, 25 or 35 to premeditate what these kids did, or these teenagers, writing letters about their fantasies. I understand your job is to try and find reasons. What would your response be to this question? Aren't some people just evil, my friend?
Well, I would never use the term evil because it's not a clinical term, but I suppose the equivalent is antisocial. So everything I was talking about before, lacking empathy, not caring about the rights of other people, being impulsive. So yes, I think some children do have those personality traits that are inherent. That doesn't mean that they're beyond redemption in some cases, doesn't mean that they can't be changed, but absolutely I think some people are just born with those traits.
So if that is the case, what are kind of the warning signs? Because it is such extreme behaviour.
I mean, I think it's quite hard to spot, especially nowadays when children have access to all this material on the internet. So it's quite feasible that you can have kids that are into these macabre interests and the parents don't even know. But I think if the parents do know, then it's important to act upon that. And you have to be very, very careful about what you do. I think that if a parent was worried about their child having violent tendencies, they should create a safe space initially to listen and show some sort of empathy and get them to express their feelings in a way that's not accusatory or not judgmental. Because if you don't do that, then I think they'll shut down. And then once you understand what the problem is, you have to find the solution, right? So it could be, if it's low level and it hasn't escalated to a dangerous degree like it did with girl X and boy Y, then it could be just coping mechanisms. So it could be about expressing their emotions, exercise, sport, etc., etc. But if it's gone through that threshold, past that threshold where you think there's actually a risk of danger, then you need professional help, you need therapy. There needs to be some sort of intervention.
Do you understand the feeling? I mean, this is an abhorrent, heinous crime, and actually it was interesting. The judge made a point of saying this wasn't a hate crime. That Brianna, I mean, it was just that letter that I read saying, you know, we'll get her down there and you stab her. I mean, it's absolutely appalling, and I understand people's anger. I understand what people like you have to do, but there is yes, we can look at big tech companies, we can look at traits, but there is an increased feeling in this country that we need to be stronger with people who commit such heinous acts, to be fair. I get that. I get it as a parent, you know?
Yeah, I'm also a parent, and there's no question what they did was absolutely horrific. It was pre-planned, you know. But I suppose it's a balance, isn't it, between retribution and rehabilitation. If you only punish people and you don't try and look at the underlying causes, you don't try and change them, then either you have to keep them locked up forever, or you have to accept that when you release them, they're just as dangerous, if not even more dangerous than when they went in. Whereas if you try and tackle some of the underlying emotional issues, personality traits, then, you know, putting ethics aside, you just got more of a chance of them being less risky for society in the future.
Can you do that in this case?
It's hard to say without me having assessed these two individuals in person, but I would like to think that if they're this young, that they're still malleable. They should be punished, they should go to prison. I'm not denying that for a second, but if they are going to be released eventually, then I think it's possible. I think if you dig deep down, as long as there's motivation from the individual to want to change and to want to have a fulfilling role in society in the the future, then I think in most cases it is possible.
And I think that's why I got so angry the other day when we were talking about, to my friend Ralph Bulger about John Venables, because John Venables has been released twice and has then been rearrested for child sex porn offences. So for me, you can talk about rehabilitation. I think we have to take, the rose-tinted spectacles off. What I love you saying this morning is, I'm a parent. Yes, I believe that I can, but certainly people should be punished. My thoughts always go with, Brianna's family and the hellish thing that happened to that kid.
Absolutely, and the last thing I'd say is that you touched on this yourself, Jeremy, but for rehabilitation to work, there has to be this insight, this drive from the individual. You can't force somebody to stop being antisocial or evil.
I completely agree. Do you think, and I'm trying to work out how to say this morning, with the advent of social media and people seemingly know everything about everybody, are we seeing more of these heinous crimes?
After 800 yards, go straight on M18 towards Hull.
I think that it's fair to say that hate crimes in general have increased. I know the judge said this wasn't a hate crime, but there certainly was elements of that. And I think that
go straight on
the internet, which obviously means that you can feed into networks of all these antisocial kind of criminogenic movements in the underground, but it also means that it's a lot easier to find targets, a lot easier to find other perpetrators that share the kind of beliefs that you do if you want to go and commit some sort of atrocity.
Follow M18 towards Hull for 18 miles.
Inequality, there's social injustice, there's the
makes you go and premeditatedly stab someone. That's the, and I'm not trying to make an argument because I really respect your opinion, but when people say to me, well, it's their upbringing, their parents very good, there are plenty. My problem with that is that totally disrespects people who have struggled all their life in this country and have never broken a law and might not have had a good start, but would no more think of stabbing somebody to death than flying up a wall backwards. That's me being honest with you. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. I suppose my point was that all of these factors in combination can make people less happy. It can cause social disharmony, which, not in an individual level, but in a societal level, increases the risk of violent acts. But going back to what I was saying right at the beginning of this interview, I think it's not just the external factors that you've outlined, it's also the internal personality traits and being exposed to violence. So again, I can't speak for girl X or boy Y, but it's no surprise in my line of work, a lot of the perpetrators themselves were once victims of violence, and they're just kind of reenacting what they're used to.
Fascinating. Really appreciate your time this morning. Thank you, sir. Oh God, is it me?
No, it's me.
Oh, shut up.
Still to come today. On Talk Today, the Premier League will cut down on gambling ads to protect children, and how to avoid a walking accident from a bottle of festive fizz.
Alice Denby from CapEx and journalist James Butler are back for a final look at this morning's papers. Please do not go anywhere. 8:26 Thursday morning across the UK. Even Talk Today, we're coming back.
Hi all.
Hiya.
How are we doing?
Afternoon.
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 Let's get this meeting.
Meeting started.
When everyone's home, EE Work Mode prioritizes your broadband for working from home with the UK's fastest major broadband provider. So
Yeah, I've got you loud and clear as a bell.
this is broadband made for working from home. Search EE Broadband, powered by BT.
Work mode with EE Smart Hub Plus. To verify, see ee.co.uk/claims.
We don't just do Christmas at Curry's, we do it properly by giving you just that little bit more. How about the gift of creativity when you buy a Lenovo Yoga laptop from $699, engineered to do it all with an Intel Evo platform. You can claim a travel voucher and have the chance to win a trip to New York, so you can unleash the power to create wherever you are at Curry's. T's and C's apply. UK only. 18 plus. Purchase by 29th of Feb 24. Enter on the Lenovo website between 30 to 60 days of purchase.
What could you do in 60 seconds? You could wash up 2.5 dishes. You could delete 17 blurry pics from your phone. Or you could use Capital One's Quick Check to see if you'll be accepted for a credit card without affecting your credit score.
Nice.
Search Capital One Quick Check. Capital One, that's one good thing.
You can do this. You're Tom Daly. You know the routine. 30 degrees with a gentle spin, knitted jumpers in first, pirouette to the trucks, detergent.
Perform better on Sundays. Get half-price electricity, 11 a.m. till 4 p.m. with Peak Save from British Gas. Proud partners of Team GB and Paralympics GB. Ends 31st of December. Season Emergency reply. Smart meter required.
Your way from driveway to motorway.
Talk Radio. Travel update.
The M3 in Hampshire is closed southbound from junction 11 south of Winchester to 12 at Eastleigh after a vehicle caught fire, causing long delays. The M5 in Worcestershire to one of 4 lanes closed northbound after an accident between junctions 5 and 4A from Droitwich to the M42, causing queues. The M1 in South Yorkshire is closed each way to high-sided vehicles at junction 34 at Meadowhall. There's a strong wind. A number of bridges in Scotland closed to high-sided vehicles too. And there's disruption to a number of train and ferry services in Scotland because of the weather. I'm Russell Holt.
If Galaxy chocolate tastes good to you, wouldn't it be great if it did good for others too? That's why by 2030, we commit to help 1 million people, including women, their families, and their communities thrive. Just a little drop of pleasure could create ripples of hope. Galaxy chocolate. Your pleasure has promise. Find out more at galaxychocolate.co.uk.
Talk Radio. Accept no substitutes. Access all arguments. Shut up and listen. We're on your side. The home of common sense. Talk Radio.
Welcome back to Talk Today. It's 8:30. We'll have the papers in just a moment, but here's what else is coming up in the programme.
From using Klarna to taking out loans, 1 in 4 of us will borrow cash this Christmas. At 10 to 9, our money expert explains how you can stay out of the red. Really important. Plus, could we see Sakir the statesman? The son of Trevor Kavanagh, what a legend, has his pre-Christmas stay on the Labour leader's visit to Estonia, and he's going to mark Rishi for the last 12 months. And then at 9:20, really, really important we do this, the mother of a 26-year-old man who died after becoming addicted to ketamine, which, by the way, is a forced tranquilizer, will tell us why she wants that drug reclassified to a Class A substance.
It's going to be a busy hour or so. Let's take a final look at some of this morning's front pages. Start with the Times. Homeowners are going to benefit from a fall in mortgage rates that should ease the cost of living crisis. The Mail focuses on the family of Brianna Jai, whose killers were convicted yesterday. We were just talking about that. The quote there from her family: "What they did to our beautiful daughter will haunt us forever." And the Sun has an exclusive. The bargain hunt auctioneer, Charles Hanson, has been charged for domestic abuse allegations.
James Bloodworth, Alice Denby are back. Final to this morning's papers, one and all. Thank you so much indeed for this morning, James. This is the story in the Times. I just wanted to do a little bit. This is about the Horizon Post Office scandal. I did a special on this on JK Live. Holly, who used to work with me, phoned me up the other day, and she went to a local post office, and she was absolutely amazed to discover that they're still using the Horizon software, which is extraordinary.
It is, yeah. So the Horizon scandal, there were postmasters wrongly convicted. Around 700 postmasters were wrongly convicted between 1999 and
Of
2015.
stealing money?
Yeah,
Because of a computer glitch.
and fraud, and they were wrongly convicted. It was a computer error, but only a small percentage of them have actually won compensation and had their convictions overturned. Because to get the conviction overturned, you have to go back to court. Some of the people who were convicted had died. That's been in the news.
Died feeling that they were guilty when they knew. This is an absolute horrific scandal.
Yeah, and others just don't want to go back through that again, putting through that themselves, that going through court again. But they have to do that to get the compensation. So, I mean, campaigners have called for compensation to be given to victims automatically, to be paid out to postmasters who were wrongly convicted, even if they haven't gone through the formal process of overturning the convictions, which I think is, to me, that's common sense. Yeah, money's already been set aside. Why put them through the ordeal when we know they were wrongly convicted of going through the court system?
People took their life or tried or thought about taking. This is absolutely disgusting. And the post office are still, I'm just telling you a story, still using that software. That's ridiculous.
I think the delay, Alice, feels inexcusable because we know these people can't be guilty. We've got just James laid that out. Why can't the process to get them proper compensation just happen as quickly as possible? Why isn't that sort of an urgent priority?
I don't understand why it's taken so long. This was a terrible miscarriage of justice, but it's not the first time this has happened. You know, the infected blood scandal, the amount of time it takes to go through public inquiries or to get justice in this country. It just does seem like this is another example of where the state and the system just doesn't seem to be working for ordinary people.
You know, when they talk about politicians, right? You know, try and read the elephant in the room. Try and understand what people. If it's a politician, right? If it's a home secretary, that's a no-brainer, isn't it? wrongly convicted, went to jail. I remember interviewing this woman. She said, the door's still shut. I've never stolen anything in my life. It got to the point where I just thought, well, maybe I did. Left a kid at home, was in prison for over a year. It's changed her completely. She shouldn't have to go through it again.
No, it's basically a question of right and wrong, and this money's already been set aside by the government, and that even doesn't take account of the trauma that those people have gone through. Yes, they should be compensated, but they're never going to get back those years of their life they've lost, either being incarcerated in some cases, or just going through the stress of it.
Alice, HS2 is not going to go exactly where it was originally planned, and it costs significantly more than it originally been planned. So we got a bit of a PR spin when they said, okay, this leg's going to be scrapped, but don't worry, we're going to spend that money on doing things like improving roads. There's been a bit of a row because a poster was published that doesn't quite tell the full truth.
Yes, so this poster was published saying we're going to spend how many it is, 20 million?
235 million.
235 million upgrading roads in London, and with a symbol at the bottom that says Network North. So it seems like all of this money that was supposed to be going to the north for HS2 is actually just being sprinkled around the country to fix potholes or whatever it might be. And once again, Britain has failed to build major infrastructure. It's just yet again
embarrassing, isn't it?
Why we can't get anything built in this country. But we can give a few quid to London for its potholes.
I mean, there again, read the elephant in the room. If you're going to say you're levelling up, and then you end up spending it, because I get wound up about this programme, I think London-centric. This is across the United Kingdom. Again, somebody in government goes, you know what, that 80 million quid, whether it's road traffic or buses or whatever, in the Midlands, in the north of England, let's get our brains in gear, right?
Yeah, and I mean, this Northern Powerhouse talk that was a few years ago from the government, there were aspects of that where it just seemed like the government was throwing money at red wall seats to just win people's votes. But infrastructure is something where government spending, was needed. And this, potholes. There is a problem with potholes in London and everywhere else in the country. But it was so disappointing when the government scrapped HS2 in parts of the north. And I think infrastructure spending, if we do want the country to be less London-centric, less the need for people to move to London to get the kind of jobs they want and businesses they want to set up, then we need to spend on infrastructure in the north.
But also the argument with HS2, which apart from the ridiculous amounts of money, was you're going to spend billions of pounds to get to London 12 minutes sooner. There's plenty of towns and cities north of Watford Gap, ladies and gentlemen, that need to be added together, and there's plenty of business in the north of England that's incredibly successful and needs that connection.
Shall I give you the view from Liverpool?
Yes.
The mayor of the Liverpool City region, the Labour mayor, said, unless Network North is shorthand for Network North Circular, I really fail to see how fixing roads in London will help to improve journey times between Liverpool and Manchester. And I think
Who put the poster up?
Problem.
Who put the poster up? Does anybody know?
The Department for Transport.
Brilliant. Okay. Let's go on, James. The Premier League, I'm really interested in your opinions on this, and other bodies, sports bodies, should cut the bombardment of gambling ads in stadiums to minimise children's exposure.
Yeah, so I mean, there is kind of it does feel like, as somebody who watches football, for example, that the sport is becoming kind of saturated with adverts for gambling. And recently there's been some high-profile cases of footballers speaking out about their own addictions to gambling. And there's a fear, I suppose, now that gambling's being more normalised among children. Because it's much easier to do now online. You don't have to necessarily go into a betting shop like as in the past, which is a concern because I do think that gambling is a increasing problem in this country, and it tends to be when someone gets started gambling at a younger age, then they're more likely to be addicted to gambling.
You're going to be screwed if you're a Stoke City fan, aren't you? Because their stadium's named after Bet365. It's the 365 Stadium. I mean, I agree with you, and then I also have this thing in my head about where are we going to get in this world where we're going to make sure that nobody ever reacts to anything in case it's bad. You don't have to gamble just because it's an advert.
The children's aspect.
Yeah.
Same with, we worry about whether children get hooked on, vaping, for example, is a big concern at the moment. And I don't have any problem with adults gambling, but do we want children, spending all their money on gambling, having problems with gambling? I would say not.
Alice?
I do think this is a slight sort of nanny state measure. Gambling is a legal industry in this country, and I don't see why it shouldn't advertise where it likes. I do think that fear about, think about the children does often lead to state overreach. Things like junk food bans, sugar taxes, all of these things. I think we should treat people like adults. Gamble if they choose. Don't gamble.
But would it not be better to do adverts to say that the dark web, criticise the dark web, or try and cut the dark
story, gambling isn't always just a bit of fun. There are people who also develop serious problems with it. And I feel like these flashy adverts, you don't really see that.
No, absolutely.
Should we talk about some of the most controversial moments that have happened on TV in the last year? It's got to that time of the year now when we look back and say, oh, you know, this was the most watched, or this was, according to the Daily Star, the most complained about moments on TV. And it's remind us of some of the very controversial moments.
Well, I don't think it will be a surprise to many that one of the most controversial moments of the year was when Lawrence Fox. Lawrence Fox is a presenter, was a presenter, a former presenter on a rival channel, an inferior channel, who was very rude.
He's got a job for life, sign her up, done.
Who was very rude and misogynistic about female journalists. That was one of the most complained about moments. I think, you know, fair to say that Lawrence Fox is a controversial character about whom the less said the better. I think some of the other moments do provide quite an interesting insight into the British public, though, because if we look at some of the other most complained about moments, so there was one where the actress Adjoa Andoh called the royal balcony at the coronation terribly white. And then some of the other big complaints have been about coverage of the Israel-Gaza conflict. So both sides, a lot of people complaining about the BBC's refusal to call Hamas terrorists, but then people complaining about pro-Israeli sentiment on the other side. So I do think that this suggests that some of the things that really get people going are these kind of core issues of identity and race and you know, real kind of culture war stuff that seems to be getting people extremely wound up when they're watching TV.
Okay, you can always turn off, of course. James, this is, to me, this explains entirely that this is Christmas week, because on page 20 and 21 of the Daily Mail, yawn, it's Christmas social media trend time. Dressing your dog as a nativity character is apparently the latest thing. Yawn.
Yeah, I mean, the dogs look quite sad, being dressed up like that, as I would always look sad.
I love you, Bloodworth.
Angel looks quite cheery, actually.
I mean, look at this. Look at that sad dog.
Well, that's being the innkeeper. That's really the role, embodying it. You would be quite sad to say, sorry, no.
But you don't let go. No, we got no rooms. You can sleep outside. I don't care about you. Why are people dressing
Who would
their
you
dogs?
be in the nativity?
Jesus. No, I'd obviously be old and I can't ride a camel. Who would I be? King Herod? He wasn't in it, was he? I have no idea. Who would you be?
Probably the narrator.
I love the fact that you didn't say the Virgin Mary. Dressing your dog up, you got a dog, would you dress it up?
I got a cat. I did dress it up last week in a little outfit, bow tie, tartan bow tie.
You just proposed it, Chris.
I know. It's true, but
Alice.
But yeah.
I mean, it's quite cute. I can't get myself particularly excited about it. Frankly, I'm not much of a dog person.
No, I love this woman
sorry.
increasingly. And I suspect we have to go to the final story because Emily Rose Adams has brought to the studio, judging by what happened about fractures in the last hour. This in the Sun, page 23. Beware. Medics have warned festive drinkers to watch out when opening champagne's corks can cause serious intrigue, and can fly across the room at 50 miles an hour. So don't open them between your legs. That's what you're
50 miles per hour, though, for a cork, that is some speed.
It is. Have you ever been injured by a cork, Alice Limble?
No, I've never been injured by a cork. I do get the sense that the Sun ran with the story so they could use the headline, "Phew, what a corker." One of their favourite headlines to use. I mean, I think really the problem here is that people are clearly too inexperienced at drinking champagne. They're just doing it once a year and they don't know that the correct way to open the bottle is, you know, you hold the cork, you twist the bottle.
Good girl. See? Twist the bottle, hold the cork, not this.
Can I say one of the tips they said is to make sure it will be actually no Prosecco. They said make sure that the bottle is chilled. But why would you be opening it warm?
Oh, you've changed. You have been in this gig 2 hours. I'm not having warm
What if we were doing that? You'd get it out of the fridge and then
Jay's going, we don't have that.
You don't have, I agree. You don't
Yeah.
have one. No. This feels like one of those mythical kind of accidents, like, I don't know, slipping on a banana skin or something. It's not, never actually happened. I mean, if there's ever a case of nanny stay ovaries, this one is probably it.
I had a friend who was at a wedding recently, and the groom got a cork to the eye, had to leave, go to A&E, and come back later on.
See, I thought it was going to be far more dramatic, that story. Thank you very much indeed. James Bloodworth, Alice Denby, have a fantastic Christmas. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Now Emily is in the studio. Let's get a news update.
Thank you. Good morning. The US says serious negotiations are taking place on a new Gaza truce and the release of more Israeli hostages. This is Gaza's Ministry of Health says the death tolls now surpassed 20,000 people since the war with Israel began more than 10 weeks ago. Yossam Confino, the foreign editor of Jewish News UK, told Talk Today the conflict
conversation about a two-state solution for Israel.
After 1.4 miles, keep right.
Is to get rid of Hamas. But I think what we're lacking here is a conversation about what the international community wants, what the Israelis want, and what the Palestinians want, because those three things are not the same.
A judge will decide later whether to publicly name two teenagers who've been found guilty of murdering a transgender pupil. 16-year-old Brianna Jai was stabbed 28 times in what's been described as a ferocious attack in a park in Cheshire in February. And schools in Scotland have been forced to shut this morning. M&E train services cancelled as Storm Pia arrives. Drivers are being urged to take care on the roads across the country, with some areas in the north experiencing gales of up to 80 miles per hour. You're up to date. I'll have more headlines at 9 o'clock.
Thanks, them. So much to get into in the next, 45 minutes. I can add up. Of course I can. And now do the weather for me. It's 9. Thanks.
After 800 yards, keep right, then take the road away.
Windy today. Let's look at the details.
Keep right, then take the road away.
Time radio sponsors Talk TV weather.
Good morning. Windy across the UK for today. The Met Office do have a warning of force from now up until 9 p.m. for most areas apart from central Follow.
M18 towards home for 14 miles.
Hours over the next few days as well. It stays generally mild, but the north will see some colder airflow, and therefore there may be some wintry showers across the high ground in the north, mainly for Scotland on Christmas Day. But forget about any snow. It's all about the wind today. As you can see, that warning from the Met Office covering many places of the UK. Already windy gusts of up to around 55 miles per hour, up to 80 severe gales across the far northeast of the UK is expected. It's a cloudy start with outbreaks of rain across central and southern areas. That's clearing through quickly. Then we're seeing lots of sunshine across many areas this afternoon. Showers over Scotland, some of the wintry over the high ground. A bit drier for Northern Ireland later. This is the mid-afternoon picture. And then England and Wales also seeing some showers across the north and east in particular. The far southwest becoming cloudier with some patchy rain that's also going to affect much of the Republic of Ireland. Temperatures up to 12 degrees Celsius, but not feeling that mild with the brisk winds. There's also the risk with the very strong winds of storm surges. The Environment Agency have warning from force, especially around Norfolk, Suffolk and the Thames estuary area that could cause some flooding. Now overnight the winds subside a little bit, but they still remain strong. It will be mainly dry and clear across northern and eastern parts, but there will be showers continuing across Scotland, some of these wintry, so blizzard-like conditions, and rain with cloud across Northern Ireland and northern, central, southeastern parts of the north of Wales.
Times Radio sponsors Talk TV weather.
Cheers now. Still to come this morning until today. We're spending more than ever on Christmas, but will 1 in 4 of us borrow money? Yes, we will. We need to give you some consumer advice to make sure you keep your costs low as possible. That's coming up.
And remember, keep getting in touch with your views. This is Talk Today. It is called Tonight.
Ding dong, maverick on high. Magic mind spells are ringing. Ding dong, Shazam in the sky. And Spider-Man is swinging. Upgrade to Sky Cinema for more of the latest blockbusters, like Top Gun Maverick, Magic Mike, The Last Dance, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Fast 10, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And 2 free view tickets a month. Sky Cinema. Movies make Christmas. Sky TV contract required. View tickets valid Sunday to Thursday. Limits and restrictions apply. See sky.com for terms.
This is Samsung S23 FE's greatest hits, with hits such as super fast processing speed, spectacular camera, the new phone with all the greatest hits from £599. Buy the Galaxy S23 FE to claim £294 worth of rewards, including £100 cashback. Purchase from a participating retailer by the 25th of Jan 24. Claim cashback through 30 days of purchase. T's and C's apply. Samsung.com pricing show.
Paddington is back in McDonald's Happy Meal. Join him in discovering all the fun of the festive season, like ice skating, pulling crackers, singing songs, and even playing games. But the best thing is, everyone can enjoy the magic of Paddington and Happy Meal. Have a very berry Christmas with Paddington. Some fun, some food, it's all inside this Happy Meal.
Until
to 3rd of January from 11 a.m. Includes one pre-selected book or toy while stocks last. See mcdonalds.co.uk/Happy Meal for details.
A magical Christmas with Lidl means picking up a Good Housekeeping Best Supermarket Wine 2023. A Portuguese Douro Reserve for just $6.99. On our award-winning French Pitbull de Pinet for $7.49. Or our Spanish Rioja Crianza for just $5.99. Now that's big on quality and always little on price. Subject to availability, selected stores, GB only.
Your way from driveway to motorway. Talk Radio. Travel update.
The M60 in Greater Manchester is closed clockwise from junction 10 for the Trafford Centre to 12 at the Eccles interchange after a lorry overturned the queues as a result. The M53 in Cheshire is queuing south after traffic was stopped. There was an accident between junction 6 and 7 from Hooton to Overpool. The M5 in Worcestershire, 2 out of 4 lanes are closed northbound after an accident between junctions 5 and 4A from Droitwich to the M42 causing queues. And the M3 in Hampshire is closed southbound from junction 11 south of Winchester, 12 at Eastfield. A vehicle caught fire causing long delays. I'm Russell Holding.
10 green bottles standing on a wall. Oi, are you enjoying grub buckets?
I'm wondering where the next charger is.
There's a BP Pulse charger coming up any minute, love.
Well, in that case...
And if one green bottle should accidentally fall,
Nothing keeps happy you going like knowing when a BP Pulse charger is nearby. Download the BP Pulse app to keep you going. BP's here for your travel needs, mostly with petrol and diesel, but BP Pulse already has over 3,000 rapid and ultra-fast charging points.
Radio. Reach for the story. Radio with grown-up opinions.
Don't get angry. Get on Talk Radio.
Don't get angry.
Welcome back. You were Talk Today, 10 to 9 exactly now. According to new research, the average household will spend almost $2,000 on Christmas, with many of us turning to alternative ways of getting hold of extra cash over this festive period.
Herbert, some of the most vulnerable families are now at risk of falling, prey to unaffordable buy now, pay later schemes or illegal loan sharks. So how can you ensure you stay out of debt? Joining us now is the personal finance expert, Jasmine Birtles. Jasmine, very good morning.
Hi there.
When should you be using, if ever, a buy now, pay later scheme?
Well, yeah, good point. A lot of people wouldn't even dream of using them. However, if you know what you're doing, if you've got a regular income and you're on top of your finances, then buy now, pay later can be a nice, cheap, interest-free way of spreading the cost of something large, like say for example a sofa. You can pay it over 3 months and not pay any interest extra. So, you know, for some people, if they are on top of their finances, and this is the important thing, you need to be knowing what you're doing, it can be quite a clever way of doing it quite cheaply.
The problem is the people who aren't, Jasmine, with respect on top of their finances at this time of year, buy now, pay later, these loans that you don't read the small print and the 75%, and people find themselves unable to repay and get themselves in massive debt. Now, I hold a lot of the companies responsible. People also have to be responsible. What tips can you give to people watching this right now who are thinking, I can't even afford to get presents, I can't even afford to get Christmas lunch, what should they do?
Well, there are a lot of people in that situation, and what I would say firstly is be open with friends and family, because, you know, really there's no shame, as so very many people are struggling right now, that it's quite likely that if you say to friends and family, I'm really sorry, this year I have no money, they will say, oh, you know, us too, we haven't got the money either. Let's not buy each other presents. Let's just concentrate on the children. Now, if you have to borrow, and as you say, a lot of people are borrowing on overdrafts, credit cards, whatever, I would say keep it as little as possible, just the minimum to keep the children going. And also explain to the children that you do want to do something good for them. We're just going to have one present this year. What's the one present you'd like? This is how much we've got £15. What would you like for £15? That sort of thing. I would say try and go to, there isn't very much time now, but try to go to one of the fair lenders. There's a lending company called Fair for All Finance, Fair for You. They lend money for specific items, and they do it in a fair way. Similarly, credit unions, your local credit union. Now, it sometimes takes a while to be able to borrow something from them, but it's worth getting to find out where is your local credit union. These are like not-for-profit banks that are run by local people for local people, and you can get fair loans from them. Those are much better than credit cards, which are expensive. Credit cards are sort of fairly easily available, but they are an expensive way to borrow. And even overdrafts, they can be quite an expensive way to borrow if you don't really have to.
Something's gone slightly wrong though, hasn't it, Jasmine? Because it's a quarter of us will be borrowing for Christmas. It's not, that's a huge number of people who clearly feel that the pressure means they've got to provide a Christmas that they simply can't afford.
Yes.
What advice would you give to someone?
Well, don't put the television on. That's
ridiculous. Between 6 and 9:30.
I know. Exactly. It's all the adverts. We have all these adverts from supermarkets, particularly with these pictures of tables groaning with food, and then you're told that is the perfect Christmas.
Yeah.
Of course, there is no such thing. We know there is no such thing as a perfect Christmas. Even if you have a table laden with food,
I think it's gone to the point. We talk about pressure and advertising. We've got to take responsibility. We buy more and more and more and more and more for our kids, and we build it into that. And the world's like, listen, there was a great story this morning that I want to ask your opinion on. A certain mother somewhere, I don't know where she was, she decided she's so hacked off with everything. She's charging her family, charging her daughters £12.50, the sons who work 15 quid, her grandchildren are £5. This is for Christmas lunch, and even the under 3s, was it under 5? £2.50. Maybe the big tip, Jasmine Burdles, if you're coming to my house and you're not bringing anything, I'm charging you for Christmas dinner. What do you reckon? That'll finance the presents.
Well, I mean, good for her. I mean, I wonder if that's a lesson that is going to come through to the kids. I mean, on the one hand, you think, well, good for her, because it is costing. Because it's not just the food, it's the effort, it's the heating and lighting and all of that. But, ultimately, there is something a bit naff, frankly, about charging people. But I do think that if you're going to be hosting a big Christmas dinner with the relatives, who are going to be sitting there complaining because there's not enough gravy, well, they can be bringing some dishes. That's, I think, a somewhat more graceful way of doing it.
You're absolutely right. Jasmine, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. Just some messages, by the way, quickly. 1 in 4 of us will borrow cash. Thank you for getting in touch, Karen. I don't borrow at Christmas and make the most of my savings. We promise having presents for our kids and feeling festive. My family is always happy with the little things I do for them.
Well, Alex says, look, what about handmade instead? That's what they do. Cookies, photo albums, something that takes time and effort. Doesn't have to be much. We hear this again and again, the thought that counts.
Absolutely. Does it? Well, and then kids go, I didn't get much. Listen, thank you very much, Jasmine. Still to come and talk today.
Claire Rogers' son, Ryan, was 26 when he died after becoming trapped in the cycle of ketamine addiction. We're going to speak to her about her campaign to get the drug reclassified as a Class A substance.
This is Talk Today. It's 4 minutes to 9. We're coming back in 3. Don't go anywhere.
This Christmas, get them something they really want. The new TalkSport football trivia game. Put your encyclopedic football IQ on the spot with the board game the whole family can play. Won't leave anyone bored. And at $19.99, even Scrooges can afford one. The TalkSport football trivia game. Available now from Sports Direct, House of Fraser, Game, Amazon, Sainsbury's, and all good toy retailers.
Money Super 7, great job saving customers serious money. Now let's think bigger.
What about giving away cuddly toys?
Toys? I said think big.
How about a rewards club for all our customers? Using big savings, we'll give them rewards to spend however they want.
Oh, I like that.
The new Super Save Club from Money Supermarket. Earn rewards when you save with us on car insurance, broadband, and more. Saving supercharged. Qualifying purchase with an account. Rewards include prepaid MasterCard, 18 plus UK only. See site for T's and C's.
At Holiday Inn Express, the best meal of the day is always included as part of your stay. Rise and shine with a muffin and croissants galore. With a buffet this good, you'll come back for more. Try excellent eggs. There's fresh coffee too, or a hot English brekkie. You do you. Holiday Inn Express. Comfy bed, banging breakfast, always included. Travel like you mean it with IHG Hotels and Resorts. 19 hotel brands, 6,000 global destinations, and IHG One Rewards loyalty program.
Club card accepted.
This Christmas at Tesco, get Pepsi Max 24 packs, now only £7, down from £10.50 with club card prices. Helping you become more Christmas. Tesco, every little helps. Majority of larger stores, Pepsi, and 2nd of January. Excludes
tickets, Northern Ireland and Rush club card required.
This Christmas, why not give someone the gold scratch card?
You know what's great? It's a last minute gift.
Yeah.
Scratch cards.
We've got a tradition. We hide them in the crackers that we've made. So we put a scratch card in each of those.
Oh, wicked.
Do you scratch it all up at once, or do you do like section by section
bit by bit.
to build up the tension?
Yeah.
So like, next bit. Such a great gift.
Yeah, that's right. Give the gold scratch card with the National Lottery. Please give responsibly. Rules and procedures apply. That must be 18 or over.
Talk radio.
They can take away your opinion, and they can't take away your freedom of speech.
100%.
Talk Radio, the home of common sense.
Fancy an adventure? You could sail around the world solo. Boats are expensive though. Maybe you could hack your way through the jungle to an ancient Mayan temple. I see too. And snakes. Or you could try the SEAT route to adventure, because right now you can buy any SEAT at 0% APR when financed with Solutions PCP. SEAT. Live bolder. Live better.
Offer ends April 2nd, 2024. Maximum 36-month term. Minimum 10% deposit. T's and C's apply. Indemnities may be required. SEAT Finance.
Essential, edgy, engaging.
Advanced postulation for any angry nation.
Ask for it by name.
Talk Radio.
The home of common sense.
This is Talk Today with Jeremy Cullen and Rosie Wright.
Good morning. It is 9 o'clock on Thursday, the 21st of December.
And thank you for making it Talk Today. We're on TV, radio, online, and of course your smart speaker. And these are your top stories for Thursday morning.
Keir Starmer says Russia poses a direct threat to Britain as he visits Estonia, urging the world not to go soft on Putin.
A judge will later decide whether two teenage killers of Brianna Ghey can be publicly named.
And there are calls to reclassify ketamine as a Class A drug. We'll talk to one mum who tragically lost her son to the illegal substance.
And travelling for Christmas today, beware there are very strong winds across much of the UK thanks to Storm Pierre. Also rain or showers to contend with. I'll have the details for you very soon.
Now, thank you. Loads to cram into the next 30 minutes ahead of Kev and Alex. Emily, what's happening news-wise?
Good morning. Well, schools in Scotland have been forced to shut this morning and many train services are cancelled as Storm Pierre arrives. Drivers are being urged to take care on the roads across the country, with some areas in the north experiencing gales of up to 80 miles per hour. A yellow weather warning's in place and more disruptions expected over the coming days. The travel correspondent for The Independent, Sam Calder's, told Talk Today the impact on travel is already severe.
And it just, of course, if you have got maximum pressure on the system, everybody desperate to get where they're going, a bit of weather is going to throw a massive spanner in the works. So when you said, people have left last week, that was certainly the smart thing to do.
The US says serious negotiations are taking place on a new Gaza truce and the release of more Israeli hostages. And it says Gaza's Ministry of Health says the death tolls now surpassed 20,000 people since the war with Israel began more than 10 weeks ago. A judge will decide later whether to publicly name two teenagers who've been found guilty of murdering a transgender pupil. 16-year-old Brianna Ghey was stabbed 28 times in what's been described as a ferocious attack in a park in Cheshire in February. Yesterday, two 16-year-olds who haven't been named because of their age were convicted of her killing. Government borrowing increased by more than £1 billion last month. The Office for National Statistics said public sector net borrowing stood at £14.3 billion in November. That's the fourth highest November total since monthly records began in 1993, but it remains lower than the same period last year due to the government spending significantly less on energy bill support. And plans to allow pupils in England to study for a GCSE in British Sign Language have moved a step closer. In 2018, the government said it would consider introducing the qualification after deaf schoolboy Daniel Gillings and his family launched a legal challenge to introduce the course. And now the government says it will be brought in 2025. You're up to date with the headlines. We'll have another update at 10 o'clock.
Thank you very much indeed. Good news on that. Absolutely. Naz, give me some.
After 1.4 miles, keep right.
Misery. Happy Christmas.
You're welcome. Yeah, it is. Looking very windy out there this morning. If you are considering travelling, let's take a look at the details because we might need to see these bits. incredibly windy day out there for today. The Met Office have a warning in force right up until 9 p.m, although the winds remain strong tonight and tomorrow as well across many parts of the UK. There's also rain and showers to contend with, and the strong winds are likely to cause some storm surges today, especially around the Norfolk, Suffolk, Thames estuary coastline, and the Environment Agency have warnings in force for that. That could cause some flooding issues.
After 800 yards, keep right.
For many central and southern parts of England and Wales, cloudy as well. Everywhere else sunny with showers and very windy everywhere, particularly across the far northeast. Now widespread winds gusting up to around 55 keep right across much of the UK, up to 80, so severe gales across parts of the northeast, especially for the northern half of Scotland. The winds peaking this morning, I think subsiding a little bit later. And as you can see, the sunshine and showers continue across Scotland, some of them wintry over the high ground there, a bit dry for Northern Ireland later.
Follow A63 towards Hull for 16 miles.
England and Wales. So although becoming brighter, it will stay windy. There will be showers for many and rain to the southwest. And into tonight, the winds continue to be strong. There will be clear spells, but there will be showers staying around the north and east of the UK and patchy rain and cloudy skies across Ireland, Northern Ireland, Wales, northwest England, the Midlands, central, southeastern England by dawn. It will be a very mild night across the south, but in the north, cold, where wintry showers will continue with a brisk winds, blizzard-like conditions are likely.
Times Radio sponsors Talk TV weather.
Thank you. Now back to our top story for Thursday morning. Now, the Labour leader has travelled to Estonia to thank British troops for standing up to Russian aggression.
So Keir Starmer says the defence of the UK starts with Ukraine. He's pledged that the Labour government will reinforce NATO allies along the Russian border. Well, let's look at some of the politics of the day. The Sun columnist Trevor Kavanagh is with us. Trevor, good morning. What do you think Keir Starmer's trying to achieve?
Well, I think that he's trying to achieve the Prime Ministership. I mean, this has taken me totally by surprise, and I can almost barely believe it, which is often the case with Keir Starmer, who performs somersaults like a circus act. But, I mean, on this one, I almost feel full of admiration for the policy that he's announced. I detect the fingerprints of Tony Blair and Peter Mandelson behind this. But it is the right stance to adopt. Putin is a threat to Europe, to the West, and in cooperation with other despots around the world, to the entire global harmony.
Trev, welcome. Pre-Christmas, really appreciate you being on. I'm with you. To come out and say that about Putin, to come out almost as equally quickly as Sunak about Hamas. This is a very different Labour leader. This is a very different look from, yes, we were talking earlier, don't look back, but this is very different from Corbyn and Foot, the people you and I remember. This is a man saying to the British people, listen, I've done my best to rid the Labour Party of, the problems of before. I am electable. I am a statesman. I find it quite interesting on the defence point of view. I'd love your take on this. I haven't got any meat on the bone. He says, our defence systems are important. Would he spend more than 2.3% of GDP? Is he going to show us the money, do you think, Trev?
That's a totally different question, Jeremy. I think the answer is no. There is no money for the sort of things that we would need to do in order to really match those words with action. I mean, you mentioned Jeremy Corbyn, who was totally different, but the thing about Keir Starmer is that he was attached like glue to Jeremy Corbyn for 4 years during some of the most extreme policy decision-making of the Labour Party's history. So where do we stand on this? I really don't know whether this is the puppet or the ventriloquist speaking. I do suspect that the strings are being pulled behind the scenes by Tony Blair, who sees himself as a global leader, someone on the world stage who still manages to make things happen, often for the worst. But on this particular policy, you can't really question it, because it is something that every party in this country should say, and say it proudly.
But that's the thing with Keir Starmer. Maybe he's just playing it safe. I mean, saying, look, we can't be soft on Putin. He's stating the obvious, really, and not much more, Trevor.
Well, I agree. And one of the things that we need to take into account when we look at Keir Starmer as a potential incoming Prime Minister is that he has a party to lead. And that party is deeply split from top to bottom, from left to right, and across all policy divides. There are a lot of people within the party who are very pro-Putin, very pro-Russia. And they won't like this. They will resist this. If he doesn't win with a landslide majority, and despite the opinion polls, that might yet not happen, I think that he's going to have a big struggle on a whole range of policies, including Gaza, including China, including America.
We all know you can win a massive majority and be out within 3 years. Trev, just one thing, and then we'll move on to Sunak. With Starmer, to me, and I'm with Rosie, he doesn't really, if you believe the opinion polls, have to do anything but keep quiet at the moment.
Well, exactly, and so when he makes a statement like this, that isn't a forced declaration, it seems to have more impact. It shows someone who seems to have a grasp of the sort of statesmanship that you need to be Prime Minister. And I have my doubts about this, frankly. I think that Keir Starmer is a fragile personality who is easily angered, and I think that he is following rules here, set down by others.
Okay, let's talk about his key political opponent, the current Prime Minister, who right now will presumably be finishing up his kind of Christmas message that we'll hear at the end of this week. What has Rishi Sunak got to sort of celebrate, to herald in terms of his achievements in the last year?
Yes, you introduced him there almost as the leader of the opposition, and it's getting that way, isn't it? I think that he has some things. I mean, this latest figure on inflation is quite important. I think the cost of living is impacting, particularly on our readers and your viewers, in a way that is quite serious and more than many of us fully appreciate. So that's good news, and I think it will come down further. What is amazing is that the Bank of England has got this so wrong, so consistently, right through the whole financial crisis of the last 2 or 3 years. But that's probably the best of it for the moment. I think that the other thing that he needs to do, almost in tandem with the economy, is the problem of immigration. And what's happened here is that Giorgia Meloni and the European Union seem to have stolen a march on Rishi by doing the very things that he's been struggling to do in terms of taking on the illegal migrants and having them dealt with elsewhere and sending them back within 3 months if they don't qualify.
Trev, I've been quite vocal about the next thing. I sort of, he wanted the job, let's be perfectly honest, and with it comes everything. But, I mean, you could look at it and go, this is a zombie government, man. This policy decided to die on the hill with, Rwanda, whether you think it's good or bad, maybe F-500 will eventually go. People will tell me it's a deterrent and it sends a message. But he's stuck between the One Nation Tories who say if you go further to the right, you're stuffed, and the ERG who say if you don't come to the right, you're stuffed as well. Is he not, I mean, I don't want to be, but is he not a dead man walking? That's how I look at it, sadly.
Well, it's very difficult not to see it that way. I mean, the party itself seems to be going in for mass suicide. It's almost like a cult that sets fire to itself. And I think that this is the problem that faces British politics. I'm very gloomy about the prospects for the coming year. I don't think we're going to have a happy new year. I think we're going to have a terrifying one in many respects. Everything seems to be going pear-shaped, whichever way you look at it, from domestic policy, the doctors' strike, and all the problems of the blob, and further afield in Gaza and China and Russia. Nothing seems to be going according to any form of plan, if there's a plan at all.
So, well, we hear that the plan from Number 10 is that the general election will be called next year. Of course, that could change.
Yep.
If you're Sunak, what is your best strategy? You've just laid out a pretty bleak picture for what January might look like. May? Does he go early? Does he cling on till December?
Well, back in October, Rishi Sunak was telling friends that time is on our side, which led us all to believe that it would be an October election. And then all of a sudden, the gossip is around that they're thinking about a spring election. Get it over and done with, I suppose you could say. And if there is any good news around, for instance, I think that Jeremy Hunt, the Chancellor, has a little bit more money to spend in his excuse me, in his forthcoming budget. I mean, who knows? But I think they could hurl cash at this, and it wouldn't make any difference. And minds are made up of so many voters that the Tories have messed up the last 13 years. Whoever's been Prime Minister, including David Cameron, the new Foreign Secretary.
Yeah, let's
I think people are simply going to sit on their hands.
Trev, one final thing before you go, and I really appreciate you haven't been well. We appreciate you joining us. Obviously, the disgusting murder of Brianna Jai is all over the Sun and all the other papers today. I just want to ask your opinion because I find myself a sort of lone voice. Girl X, boy Y. Yes, the dark web. Yes, premeditated. Yes, the note. They absolutely, well, apparently a judge later will decide whether they should be named and shamed. I believe they should because of what they did. What's your take?
Well, I think absolutely. Boy, why? I mean, why not tell us his name? He's not exactly a child. He has been obviously a very calculating killer in this event, and the girl has been swept along, maybe willingly. I think that we should know, and we should know for our own protection, because this is someone who may well be a psychopath who will offend again in the future. And I mean, the brutality involved in that is almost mind-boggling. It's just unbelievable that it was planned and carried out in the most cold and brutal ways. Psychopath, I think, much sum up the way that this guy is built.
Completely, Trevor. Thank you, and I hope you get better and have a great Christmas. And we appreciate you.
Thanks very much.
Still to come here on Talk Today. Claire Rogers' son, Ryan, was 26 when he died after he became trapped in a cycle of ketamine addiction. We'll speak to her next about her campaign to get the drug reclassified as a Class A substance.
Keep getting in touch with your views and your opinions. It's 9:15 Thursday morning. You can Talk Today. Coming right back.
This Christmas, give them something they really want. The new TalkSport football trivia game. Put your encyclopedic football IQ on the spot with the board game the whole family can play. Won't leave anyone bored. And at $19.99, even Scrooges can afford one. The TalkSport football trivia game. Available now from Sports Direct, House of Fraser, Game, Amazon, Sainsbury's, and all good toy retailers.
This is Samsung S23 FE's greatest hits. With hits such as smart brightness and long battery life. The new phone with all the greatest hits from £599. Buy the Galaxy S23 FE to claim £294 worth of rewards, including a free pair of Buds FE. Purchase from a participating retailer by the 25th of Jan 24. Claim Buds FE within 50 days of purchase. T's and C's apply. Samsung.com pricing show.
What could you do in 60 seconds? You could wash up 2.5 dishes. You could delete 17 blurry pics from your phone. Or you could use Capital One's Quick Check to see if you'll be accepted for a credit card without affecting your credit score.
Nice.
Search Capital One Quick Check. Capital One, that's one good thing.
Sarah was hitting the slopes with her family after she discovered there were great gifts on last-minute deals on Amazon.
I got myself this awesome puffer jacket! Woohoo! And one for me! Yay!
And the dog too. Those puffers are on point. Share the joy with last-minute deals at Amazon from the 8th to the 22nd of December.
Your way from driveway to motorway.
Talk Radio. Travel update.
The M60 in Greater Manchester is closed clockwise from junction 10 at the traffic centre to 12 at the Eccles interchange after a lorry overturn causing long delays. On the M53 in Cheshire, there's a lane closed southbound after an accident between junction 6 and 7 from Luton to Ownport causing queues. And the M5 in Worcestershire, it's where the 4 lanes closed northbound after an accident between junctions 5 and 4A from Droitwich to the M42 causing queues. And on the M3 in Hampshire, just 1 lane closed now southbound from junction 11 south of Winchester to 12 at Eastleigh after the vehicle caught fire. Still queues there. Right, Russell Holding.
It's time to veg out with Lidl's Christmas pick of the week. With bags of carrots, parsnips, shallots, Brussels sprouts, Swedes, and 2 kilograms of white potatoes, all for just 15p each. In Lidl stores now. Now that's big on quality and always little on price. Subject to availability, selected stores, GB only.
Mid-mornings
With Julia Hartley-Brewer.
on Talk Radio and Talk TV.
I do worry that the government has lost its backbone when it comes to this.
The same compelling debate and the same unquenchable opinions.
It's an absolute load of nonsense.
Julia Hartley-Brewer.
This morning from 10 on Talk Radio and Talk TV.
Welcome back to Talk Today, 18 minutes past 9. Now, Forensic actor Matthew Perry died in October following an accident caused by the acute effects of ketamine, which has highlighted the dangers of this illegal drug. The Class B substance has been growing in popularity as a party powder amongst Britain's youth.
Now, one mum, Claire Rogers, is calling for it to be reclassified to a Class A status after she lost her son, Ryan, to the narcotic earlier this year. Claire joins us from Warwickshire as well as Senior Policy Analyst at the Transform Drug Policy Foundation, Steve Rolls. Claire, thank you. We'll start with you. Thank you so much for talking to us. This has hurt your family in an unfathomable way. Explain, how did your son become addicted to ketamine? Do you know what happened?
Well, he started taking ketamine at festivals like a lot of young people do. And then his best friend died after a festival one night, and he started using more to deal with the grief. But then we had lockdown, so he was on furlough, sat at home, nothing to do. And then he was doing it daily, and that's when the addiction happened.
Did his friend, Claire, welcome to the show, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Did his friend die from ketamine at all as well?
He was under the influence of ketamine at the time, yes.
Can I just say, for people who don't know, and I don't want to go into this personally because that would out people, but this is a horse tranquilizer, which is used as a powder and snorted like cocaine. As a mother, it's very easy, isn't it, for people to look in at the story. How helpless were you in this fight? How difficult was it to see your son, your flesh and blood, just going downhill?
Oh, I was so helpless. I was powerless. I could not stop the toll that this drug has on him. And it's affecting a lot of families around the country. It's not just myself. I've got a WhatsApp group at the moment with 5 other families that are dealing with the same thing, and they're in they're distraught, and they cannot do anything at all to stop this pull that this drug has on them.
You are campaigning for the drug to be reclassified. Why do you think that will help people like your son currently in the claws of it?
Well, I think at the moment, as you know, kids see it as a Class B that's in the same classification as marijuana, and they don't see the harms in it, and it's so harmful. You know, the bladder issues that it causes. It's an absolutely horrible drug, and I don't understand why it's in such a low classification.
I couldn't agree more. Can we get to Steve Rolls, Senior Policy Analyst at the Transformation Drug Policy Foundation? That's a mouthful. Steve, I absolutely am with Claire, but the other side of the argument would be that people take illegal drugs, whether they're A, B, C, or whatever. This is a horse tranquilizer. We cannot over-exaggerate how harmful this is, my friend.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
We cannot overemphasize how harmful this drug is, my friend.
Yes, I mean, it is used in veterinary medicine for a range of animals, including horses, but it's also used in human medicine. It's a very useful anaesthetic used in emergency medicine in the UK and across the world in humans. So the representation of the horse tranquilizer isn't particularly helpful.
What can it do? What can it do? What are the dangers of ketamine?
Excuse me?
What are the dangers of ketamine, Steve?
Well, the dangers are particularly, well, it's very dose specific, as with all drugs. You know, a small amount of ketamine used occasionally is relatively low risk, whereas large amounts of ketamine, particularly mixed with other drugs and used frequently, can become very risky indeed, as we've heard. The particular risks are when it's mixed with other drugs, including with alcohol, and that can lead to overdoses and sometimes death. And the other problem is, as we've heard, people can develop these dependent compulsive patterns of use, which can be very destructive and can lead to profound bladder damage, and sometimes people having to have their bladders removed altogether. So
your line isn't so good, my friend. Not our fault, but we appreciate you being here. Claire, can I just say something to you? Obviously, you're a mother who's fighting for this. We could just put Claire on the screen, please. A small amount is acceptable, not acceptable. This needs to be banned, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, a small amount can lead to bigger amounts because your body is the tolerance. So, you know, you need more of it to get that same K-hole effect as such. So, you know, and that's where it leads into dangerous territory. So you're taking the small amounts to begin with, but then very quickly you can, you know, it leads to addiction, basically. It's a very dangerous drug and it needs to be reclassified.
At what point, Claire, did you realise sort of the scale and the gravitas of the problem?
I had no idea all this was going on until lockdown. I was still working. Obviously, I worked in the NHS myself. We were doing Zoom calls, and
after 800 yards, keep right.
Around 2 to 3 hours. He would pick the times when he was okay to Zoom call me throughout the pandemic, and then it wasn't to the point where his girlfriend contacted me and he had a psychotic episode. And then that's when it all came out, what happened over the last few years.
Claire, do you think, and I'm fully behind you as I'm sure Rosie is, do you think the reclassification will save people in the future? Do you think that will focus people's minds on how dangerous ketamine is?
Well, I think so. That's my opinion. I know it's not going to stop.
After 400 yards, keep right.
But it'll be tougher sentences for the dealers, because at the moment a lot of the dealers are dealing this because it's a lower classification, and it's getting to the young generation. It's not the 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds that are doing this. It's children as young as 12 taking ketamine, and that's really worrying.
Completely agree with you. Government, sorry,
no, you said you've been speaking to other families in
keep right
that you were in. To anyone listening to this who thinks, oh my gosh, that's happening in my family too, what advice do you have for them?
Well, I have a ketamine Facebook awareness page. I urge anyone that's going through this to join my Facebook page, get in touch with me, and let's push this campaign forward.
I really, really appreciate it. Just very quick, we've got 10 seconds. Is the government doing anything? Are they listening? Are they contacting you? Anything at all?
I've had a letter from the government to say if I get further evidence that this is causing harm, then they will certainly consider it. So that's why I need as many people on board.
Well, we certainly support you and we really appreciate it. And thank you so much for sharing your story. Claire there.
Thank you for having me.
Not at all, pleasure. Thank you to Steve as well. It is a major issue. Would reclassification, she makes the point, dealers would go to prison for longer, so that's to be supported. Listen, what can I say? Another one gets thrown into the dustbin of broadcasting history, and you're pleased to know that's a Merry Christmas from me. I'll see you back here on the 2nd of January, but this amazing lady's back tomorrow.
I'll be back tomorrow with David Bull. See you at 6 o'clock. Kevin Alex will be up next.
After half a mile, take the exit A1033 towards Bridlington.
January the 2nd. Have a great Christmas, whatever you do, enjoy. Keep it talk, thank you for watching, and it's the pre-Christmas hurrah.
Ding dong, Maverick on high, magic mind spells are ringing, ding dong Shazam in the sky, and Spider-Man is swinging. Upgrade to Sky Cinema for more of the latest blockbusters, like Top Gun Maverick, Magic Mike The Last Dance, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Fast 10 and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and 2 free view tickets a month. Sky Cinema. Movies make Christmas.
After 400 yards, take the exit A1033 towards Bridlington, then go left on the roundabout and take the first exit towards South Orbital Trading Park.
Bit more. How about the gift of creativity when you buy a Lenovo Yoga laptop from $699? Engineered to do it all with an Intel Evo platform. You can claim a travel voucher and have the chance to win a trip to New York, so you can unleash the power to create wherever you are. At Curry's. T's and C's apply. UK only 18 plus. Purchase by 29th of Feb 24. Enter on the Lenovo website between 30 to 60 days of purchase.
Paddington is back in McDonald's Happy Meal. Join him in discovering all the fun of the festive season, like ice skating, pulling crackers, singing songs, and even playing games. But the best thing is, everyone can enjoy the magic with Paddington and Happy Meal. Have a very Merry Christmas with Paddington. Some fun, some food, it's all inside this Happy Meal. Until 3rd of January from 11 AM. Includes one pre-selected book or toy while stocks last. See mcdonalds.co.uk/Happy Meal for details.
Come on, Katharina. You can handle this heat. One event at a time. Throw together a decent ragu. Jump straight onto the Malaysian curry. Bring it home with the chili. Yeah, I'll bust this batchcock.
Perform better on Sundays. Get half-price electricity 11 AM till 4 PM with Peak Save from British Gas. Proud partners of Team GB and Paralympics GB. Ends 31st of December. T's and C's apply. Smart meter required.
Let's go, Giddy, hurry! What's wrong with the car? Flat battery. What?
You absolute...
It's okay, lads. I'm with the AA.
Oh, lovely.
With more expert patrols in more places, we'll get you back on the road in no time. Join the UK's best breakdown service from $7.50 a month. The AA, always ahead. New customers only, T's and C's apply. Verify best and patrol numbers at theaa.com/best.
With Morrison's More Card exclusives, British veg fresh from Market Street is just 19p per pack, down from 50p each. From sprouts, carrots, parsnips and swede. Oh, very appealing. More love for the veg. Yeah, even the sprouts. Majority of stores subject to availability. Carrots 1 kilo, parsnips and sprouts 500 grams each. Ends 24th of December.
Your way from driveway to motorway. Talk Radio. Travel update.
The M60 in Greater Manchester is closed clockwise from junction 10 at the Trafford Centre to 12 at the Eccles interchange after a lorry overturn causing long delays. On the M53 in Cheshire, there's a lane closed southbound after an accident between junction 6 and 7 from Hooton to Owenport causing queues. On the M5 in Worcestershire, 2 out of 4 lanes closed northbound after an accident between junctions 5 and 4A from Droitwich to the M42 causing queues. And on the M3 in Hampshire, just 1 lane closed now southbound from junction 11 south of Winchester to 12 at Eastleigh after a vehicle caught fire. Still queues there though. I'm Russell Hubbard.
Talk Radio and Talk TV. The world headquarters of common sense. But SFL, live and dry.
I mean, a fair job is a difficult thing to do in a really major, terrifying cost of living crisis.
Comprehensive coverage and measured opinion from the Queen of Talk.
That's not something for ladies, is it?
Drive-time conversation that needs to be seen and heard.
I will, of course, be charming and delightful to you as I always am.
High-performance arguments and articulate debates.
And that doesn't leave a good taste in the mouth, does it?
Vanessa Phelps at Drive.
This afternoon from 4 on Talk Radio and Talk TV. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm Kevin O'Sullivan.
And I'm Alex Phipps. We're with you for the next half hour to dart through the day's developments in a blaze of bullseyes like Wunderkind, Luke the Nuke Littler. You're with Talk TV, on radio, online, and on your smart speaker.
Excellent. Luke Littler is I'm not sure we're going to squeeze him in for this show. We're going to definitely talk about him later. He's a new dance sensation. He's 16 years old.
16, world
And
dance champion.
I saw the picture of him yesterday, and he looks like he's about 32. I mean, what a talent, but he's
Morning.
the oldest looking 16-year-old I've ever seen. Now,
I bet I'm not booked in.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about
Blimey, yeah.
Rihanna's
Surprise.
or trans girl. She was just 16.
Yes, please. FMBU
Girl X.
0100149. Please. Sorry. Sorry, 0100149.
It's a story that breaks your heart. And what is interesting about this, I'll show you her dance talking on the camera and
Lovely, thank you.
reaction as well. But what is interesting
Thank you, mate. Cheers.
Girl X and Boy Y. At the moment,
Morning, mate. Lola. Yeah. Sorry, mate. It is, mate, yeah.
So when you talk about those,
Oh, right, okay.
we don't want to be sticking our heads in there.
Yeah, definitely,
Have a good
yeah.
walk around.
Yeah, of course, mate, yeah.
again, why the hell are we protecting John Bennett? And now the hopefully we will get to know them. But the other